What's up, folks? My name is Suhail with Angelus brand, and I'm going to show you how to flip these Air Maxes right here to these Royal ones. Alright guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to do a blackout on this shoe where you guys can see all the gray mesh areas here. What that'll end up making it also look like will be a Royal Custom as well. Jordan 1 Royal Custom is a very popular colorway, and so that's what we're going to start with. The essential things that we're going to need for this shoe before we just jump into the video on how to paint. Obviously we're going to need materials, so I'm using here an Angelus flat black paint. The flat black is one of my favorite paints. It's a staple for any customizer, for any restorer, anybody who's trying to get into this. This should be one of your first pickups. This paint has a lot of great properties to it. It's a water-based paint. It's waterproof, so when we actually end up blacking these guys out today, it's very, very durable, it's very flexible, and the last thing about this paint, what I love actually, is it can go on several surfaces and actually adheres to it well. We use this on all kinds of leathers, we can use this on fabricated materials, and today we'll be using it here on the mesh. Alright guys, shoelaces. Take out the shoelaces first, so that's a pretty basic step here. This guy here is still factory laced. Let's get started with mixing the paint here. What I usually do is I shake this guy up a little bit. What I recommend is when you pour paint, pour just enough or estimate enough that you think will be enough for your shoe. I try not to overdo it, because what happens then is you waste paint and you're wasting money. Why waste money, right? So for me today guys, I'm going to use a couple of different paint brushes. This is a flat angular 3/8 inches. And then this guy here is just a standard flat, and it is a size 6. We'll start off with the toe box here. With the toe box guys, all I do is just kind of take a dip of the paint. Be very careful here at this point guys, because when I start painting this, you can see how it flows very fast. So you want to, before you just start dropping globs of paint on this guy, you want to kind of test to see how the mesh reacts to it. And from what I see right now, it's flowing very well. The first layer guys is just kind of like your base layer. You want to try to have it be solid. But if it's not super solid, it's not a big deal. You know, that's what your second and third passes are for. Now you guys can see I'm starting with the front toe box, because it's just a nice big solid piece in the front. It gives me a little bit more comfort when I can work with that piece, rather than start to jump somewhere closer to that suede. It's very important that when you start painting next to that suede, you're very, very careful with your strokes, and you're very careful that the paint is far enough from you and the shoe, so in case you do happen to spill it, it doesn't hit your suede. Blacking out a shoe, you gotta be very, very careful with blacking a shoe out, because you know, just one stroke and you can mess up a whole shoe. And I'm very particular about how my quality of my shoe comes out. So some words of advice for you guys: take your time, be patient. All right, guys. You know, I'm liking this brush, but I'm gonna switch over to the small flat brush here. Same deal with this guy. It's the only reason I'm using this guy today. I could probably even knock this out with the bigger brush, but it's such a small little angle here. All I'm doing here guys is just brief strokes. I'm pushing the paint in so the mesh on the inside can really seep in. So you guys can see I'm doing kind of like a, almost like a rake. I'm raking it down. Raking it all in the same direction as well, okay? This last portion here, the front, I'll just show you how to angle it. Angling like this. Really careful in this spot here, because you're at two spots with two pieces of suede. Guys, there's a little bit of gray left right there. This brush here, I think is too big for it. So I would recommend probably jumping into just a slightly smaller brush here. Look at how small that guy is right there. Okay, I take my time here. That is one hell of an angle right there. See that? We're gonna start to knock out the mesh in the back. It's just a wraparound, but again, it has suede right here, right underneath it. So just be careful with that. Lucky for us, it has a black lining, so you know, a lot of times I'll work with the shoe with a light lining. You gotta watch your hands with that too, because if you got paint on your hands and you're holding the shoe, you can easily stain the inside of the shoe. So just a word of advice there for you. When you're painting mesh, it dries pretty fast. You probably give it about 10 minutes and it'll probably dry. Some people use a heat gun. Heat guns are awesome, but you need to make sure that when you're using a heat gun, you're not coming too close to the shoe. Because I've seen people burn their shoes, and there's no coming back from burning your shoe. All right, guys, let's get into getting this tongue painted up. Same raking method as I was using for the other guys. Because this is a very big mesh piece, you can just jump in and just start to paint it right away. And just really grab a lot of paint and just start hitting it. Side note, guys, on blacking things out, you can black things out, but you can't lighten things out so easily. So if we're using this water method, and we're using, for example, white paint and water, 50-50, then yeah, you're not gonna get a black shoe whited out. Because black is a dark paint, it's a great cover-up. It's probably your last resort if you mess up on a shoe and for some reason it's irreversible. For the eyelets here, I'm going to be using this Angelus leather preparer and deglazer. What it does is it strips the clear coat out, it can strip off paint. So you want to make sure that you're using this carefully in well-ventilated areas. Doing this, you can actually see a layer of the clear building up on the Q-tip. So I've seen that before. It's important that you're moving your Q-tip in a circular motion as well. So you're getting the opportunity to take off the clear coat, and then at the same time, you're removing it and replacing it with a clear part of the Q-tip. We've given it enough time to dry, so it has ample time to dry now. And we're just going to use standard Angelus paint to finish up the rest. We're going to paint a very thin layer, okay? You always want to start off with thin layers. It gives the best coats. And I'm just going to do simple strokes, just like that. All right, folks, just finished up blacking out this Air Max here. Keep in mind when you're working on white sock liners, if you're working on white mesh, keep your hands clean. Make sure that the paints that you're not using are away from you. You're working in a clean area. You're not accidentally dabbing a finger or something against paint and then hitting the sock liner with it, because you're going to ruin the shoe, unfortunately. So just a word of advice for you there. Guys, with that said, let's wrap this guy up.